Why are you sad?
Because Gwyn.
Because Gwyn didn't go with them?
Yeah.
Or do you think she should have gone with them? Oh, buddy.
Why?
Because she's going to go find her home world, and she's going to find her people, and she's going to tell them not to be scared of Starfleet, because that's why they tried to destroy Starfleet, because they were scared of them. And she's going to tell them not to be scared because they're good.
When I decided to watch Star Trek with my 5-year-old son, to introduce him to something that I loved, I didn't count on the fact that he would get so emotionally attached within 20 episodes. Now, I decided to introduce him to Star Trek Prodigy. I thought that could be our jumping off point. And look, I could have started with the original series or the way that I started, which was with the Next Generation. But, you know, Prodigy came out as a kid show, Star Trek geared towards a young audience. So I thought, you know what, this is going to be a good place for him to start. Plus, I had watched the show previously last year, and I had enjoyed it. So I thought, hey, this will be a good place for him as well to get into Star Trek. Also, because I'd only ever seen it once, I wasn't overly familiar with the storyline. So watching it again would be kind of like a fresh pair of eyes again for me, with some familiarity on what is going on, but also getting a chance to enjoy it with a really fresh pair of eyes in the form of Jonah, of my son. There are lots of reasons to enjoy watching Star Trek, which we'll go into a moment. And I genuinely thought that I hoped that Jonah would enjoy it. And however he enjoyed it would be great. Whether that's he liked the technology or the space travel or the humor. And yes, this is humor aimed at kids, but Star Trek's full of humor. It always has been. Or even just like the writing or the stories that it tells. However he connected with it, I was ready for it. I thought it would probably be like, space travel and space lasers and so on and so forth. I thought it would be maybe on a surface level. I didn't realize as we were going through just how deeply connected he was becoming with Star Trek. At the beginning there, just right now, you heard that clip where he was upset that Gwyn was not going to be traveling with the rest of the crew. She was leaving them to go back to her home planet to essentially prepare them for the likes of Starfleet so that they don't tear themselves apart, so history doesn't repeat, future history doesn't repeat itself. And I just didn't realize that like Jonah would get so emotional about this, that this would be a big thing for him. And it's that realization that the reason it's a big thing for him is that he sees that crew as a family, and he can't understand why one member of that family would leave like that. He's 5 years old. He doesn't understand that people and families do leave yet. So he found that really quite difficult, and it was quite difficult to sort of talk to him about. You heard that clip that he literally, as soon as we finished watching the episode, the mic that we use these little these little clip mics, he ripped it off and sort of ran into this corner looking really, really upset. And I sort of followed him and tried to talk to him. And, it turns out that was one of the reasons that he was upset. And as I say that again, one of the reasons he was upset in the episode. The other one was very subtle. Now, if you were listening to the rest of the podcast, you may have heard some background noises during the points where Jonah and I were talking. The reason being is that both my wife and my younger son were in the room while we were watching Star Trek. So obviously they were making some noise and the microphones were picking up that noise as well. It's okay. I don't mind. It's lovely. And occasionally my youngest was watching the screen and smiling and pointing. He's not quite at the stage yet of understanding, but it was nice that he's getting exposed to it early as well. Hey, maybe that'll be a second follow-up podcast. But for now, Jonah was cuddled up to me when we were watching this episode. And when it came to the moment where the crew were inside this hastily put together shuttlecraft that was just floating through space, and they started playing the message from Holographic Janeway, my wife sort of got to my attention and sort of nodded her head towards Jonah. And I looked down and his face he looked upset. He looked really upset about what was happening in that moment. He understood that Janeway was sacrificing herself, that moment there was the goodbye to the crew. And again, I just didn't realize that he was emotionally connecting with this material and with these characters as much as he has. And it got me thinking, because it got me thinking on a couple of things. One, his favorite character. So throughout this podcast, throughout this watching this first series together, you may have heard him say his favorite character at the beginning was Roktak. Then it seemed to be Jank and Pog. When I asked him today, he said his favorite character was Dal now. And that's okay. You can change your favorite characters. People do that. Well, Spock was my favorite character at one point. Then it's Data. You know, and even now in older age, I still switch around who my favorite characters are. I don't have one. There's a bank of characters that I like. But there's one character for Jonah that has been a constant in terms of the way that he reacts and talks about. And that is Janeway. He adores Janeway. When we're watching the opening credits and the characters come up on the screen, when Janeway comes up, he gets excited and shouts out, Janeway. When she's on screen, he gets excited to see her. When he sees the two different Janeways, the holographic Janeway versus Admiral Janeway, he gets excited. And when we're not recording a podcast and we are talking about Star Trek, he gets excited talking about Janeway. Janeway is his favorite character, even if that's not what he says. You can tell. And I love that. First of all, I love that because I am a Janeway fan. She's great, fantastic. I love Voyager. From that point of view, absolutely brilliant. The other thing I want to talk about is why he's connected so well with this character. And it got me thinking a lot about Star Trek and what is Star Trek? Because it's a lot of things to a lot of different people. Andy Weir, the author of Project Hail Mary, successful movie, successful book. He recently did an interview where he said that the reason he watches Star Trek is he doesn't want politics in Star Trek, which I find bizarre as a statement, I'll be honest with you. He just wants to see Starfleet and Romulans fight. But that's the thing. That's what he wants to see in Star Trek. That's what some people see when they watch Star Trek. Some people see it because they love getting into the lore and the canon, and it's really important that this technology works and that this makes sense and so on and so forth. Some people really get into that when they watch it. There are some people get into it because there's one particular character they identify with and that's their thing. There are some people who watch it because it's based in space. It's another sci-fi and so on and so forth. And they love space travel and all of that. But there's one thing that I think really Star Trek is. Everyone has their own definition of Star Trek and its various things. But what I think Star Trek actually is, and when I was putting together a previous video for this channel, I came across an interview with Gene Roddenberry, and the interviewer hit the nail on the head, is that you're watching Star Trek and you're learning something.
We were all learning a lesson, even though we were being entertained.
So that's what writing is really about.
What is Star Trek at its core is storytelling. It's all about the stories. The setting of Starfleet, all of that, that's the setting. And it all happens within that universe. That's fine. That's true. However, the stories are what matters. What stories are being told. The characters matter. And what makes Star Trek is that it tells stories that have a strong emotional core, that also have really important messaging, lessons to be learned, whether that is a moral lesson, a philosophical lesson, or even a lesson on just how to be a good person. It's not storytelling for the sake of storytelling. It's storytelling with a purpose to make you a better person, to make you think more about how you see the world and your place in it. And when Star Trek does it at its best, it is the TNG episode Inner Light. It's quite a lot of Deep Space Nine. It's parts of Voyager. When it gets it wrong, and it does get it wrong frequently, you know, Voyager has so many bad episodes. Next Generation has bad episodes. Deep Space Nine has bad episodes. Enterprise kind of misses the mark a lot. Just generally, it's a great show, but misses the mark. Discovery has very high and very low points to it, as does it all. Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Starfleet Academy, all hits and misses, all within all of those individual series. The point is that when they do get it right, it's because the writing is good. It's because the characters are good. And that is what connects people with the piece. If you can identify with a character, if there's something good in the character that you enjoy, then you connect with the piece a lot more. If you are unable to connect with the characters, that makes it harder. But then maybe the stories can make up for it. And so if the stories are strong as well, if it's telling stories that really resonate with you, that hit you on a deeper level, or you recognize something within them, or you learn something from them that keeps you coming back for more because you think, okay, what more can I learn? What more can entertain me? What more can touch me and make me think more? And I think, like, I didn't realize that at 5 years old, Jonah was doing that with Prodigy. Star Trek Prodigy is a really well-written show. It's a really smart show. It's a kid's show that has the trappings of a kid's show. It's lighthearted. It has there's a section where Murph jumps through the air, hitting his bum at Dreadnought to taunt them. That is such a kid's thing to do, but it's fine because the emotional core of the show, the relationship that developed between the crew and Janeway is so strong that that moment of humor doesn't detract from the moment of pathos. It's a kid's show that's written for kids, but doesn't treat them like kids. It gives them things to entertain them, but then challenges them and teaches them and nurtures them really well as too. The same way that TNG did it for me, TOS does it for others, Deep Space Nine, and so on and so forth. When Star Trek at its best, it's because the stories are good, because the characters are good, because the writing is good. And as I said, it doesn't always get it right, but it tries. It always tries. If you've enjoyed this video, please go check out the longer podcast that this is part of. You can hear it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'll pop the links into the description. It's called My Next Generation. It's me introducing Star Trek one episode at a time to my 5-year-old son, Jonah. And I'd love you to have a listen and make sure that you subscribe. So make sure you also subscribe here. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like as well. And get into the comments. Let me know what story resonated with you in Star Trek. What one episode or one storyline really spoke to you in Star Trek and makes you think of Star Trek? What is the most Star Trek story that there is? Get into the comments, and thanks for watching.